Welcome to another edition of the Motley Croc Show. It is 9/27/2022, and we have been prepping for hurricanes here at my place all day. Started last night. Been a lot of shit. I can imagine, Jeff, you're probably trying to catch up too. So people are probably wondering. But the good thing is, this is the hurricane pre-show. So with the size of that motherfucker, it may be the last time you see me and Jeff. So we really want to, we really want to touch base, right? I mean, this could be the last time. You look really young tonight, Jeff.
Y'all.
You look really young, buddy.
Thank you. I was trimming my beard and
looks good, man. You look like you're 14. I love it. Let's start a band.
Actually, somebody told me that it was getting kind of long, and I was going to kind of go with it. And then somebody told me that it was aging me, so I just decided to trim it up a little bit. And
looks good.
Yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
I got you. What's been
I
up
was into that stuff. I'd be all over you. So yeah, we've been getting everything. So the most complicated part of my day-to-day was actually shifting my my cassowaries. Cody and I had to put them in individual boxes, and these birds are huge, you know. And so getting them into their transport, aka hurricane, aka tornado boxes, you know, was quite the deal. You know, and I was telling Cody, you got to be careful because listen, our birds are good, Jeff, but you can startle them enough that they can do that high karate shit and then not have been at the hospital with him a hole in his lungs.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, they could.
So,
I'm sure they'd get pissed, especially if the weather's crazy. And
all right, so Michael's up. What's up, Michael? Good to see you, man.
What's up, Michael?
Judy is here. Heidi, hey Heidi.
Hey, Heidi.
So anybody that's not in a state and they're looking at what's going on, it's pretty scary. It's kind of like a UFO landing on the entire state.
Yeah, definitely some. They like to scare us, you know, and get us buying stuff.
Absolutely do. Absolutely.
You know who really makes out is, you know, the water people, and I'm pre-caning a little bit. Yeah, I bought my my hurricane response / safety kit, which was some beer, some wine, some weed. What's up, Dan? We missed you last week when we were.
Yeah, what's happening? He says Corey and I are about to leave. Holy fuck! I underestimated the power of an emu. By a shit ton. Were you moving the white emus today? I'm doing mine tomorrow, man. I'm going to move him tomorrow because ours is trained to walk with us. So one person kind of walks in front, touches his neck, the other person goes behind him. But it's really cool. What's up, Ange? Good to see you too. Ange is up here. So yeah, Dan, you got to watch them. So tomorrow I'm taking Izzy, and for everybody who doesn't know that Izzy is my emu. But like I said, today my cassowaries were probably the most challenging.
I bet, man.
So let me. A lot of people may think this is cruel. So this is what you got to do. And it helps them, Dan, to tell you what to do. Normally, when Cody and I had to move Izzy when he was really freaked out and he would be just flipping shit, we put like a transport blanket down on the ground, you know, sit him down, get him real comfy. But first, you have to put a ratchet strap down. So you put a ratchet strap down, a real wide one, you know, the big ones. You got to cut it short, reburn the end so it's not as big. You're not dragging shit everywhere. Then you lay the blanket on it, and then you put a towel over their back. And then while they're doing that, you cinch it up just enough, and then you crack it about 2 times to where he can still kind of move, but he can't kick his legs. And then 2 people can pick him up and move him. And a lot of times, if you're going to be moving them like that, you know, like with peacocks or certain types of birds that are a little bit different than a parrot or macaw, you would condense them into like a pillowcase with the corner cut out, so their head's out, but their body's wrapped in a little football. Two things that does. That makes them a little more calm down because they feel embraced, so it reduces anxiety, and then they can't hurt themselves. You got to understand, an emu is about 6 foot tall, a little over sometimes. And
what is Izzy weigh?
Like Corey's saying here, we had to fold their legs, and then he said we put a pillowcase over their faces. Yeah, you can do that too if you need to. But if you just wrap them and they're kind of seeing everything and they're wrapped and their legs are combined because, you know, they kind of lay like this, and you put them in, and you can put them in someplace nice and warm and let them sit, and then, you know, release them later, and then you just carry them out if it's going to be a short time. But if you're going to be in like all day, I'm not going to just tie him up. I'm just going to walk him into the enclosure because I have a big heavy duty chain link enclosure that's attached to the side of the place so that it's all under overhang. It's out of the wind zone, and it's heavy duty. That way he's not. When he was younger and he was like 5 feet tall, we brought him in the house.
I remember.
He was like looking out, trying to watch TV with us and stuff. He's a really cool dude. So yeah, they're very strong. And he said, I got my hurricane kit today, took 3. rolls of TP from the porta potties at work. Nice.
Good deal, Craig.
Craig, Craig, that's awesome.
You can use that like currency.
You know what always were my favorite were? Those big rolls, those big like hand dry paper towel rolls, like you find in the bathrooms, and you get a roll and it's like this big around. I kept one in the truck for probably 7 years.
Those things will last you forever.
Oh, you're like, hey, I need an oil rag. I'll just take one off the roll.
Yeah,
or
or
some of
the dispensers in like work or whatever, and it's always like that big around, but it's awful. It's like one ply sandpaper.
Yes, Michael, that's the best way to do it. And since we have a little bit more of a quiet time right now, and I'm not super crowded, people are pumping in stuff, and that's cool if they're asking. So I'll be able to pop up and answer questions. Sometimes, man, we get so into it or get moving, and I can't respond to everybody as quick, and I feel bad. But eventually, we're gonna have to hire somebody to just do that.
What flood zone are you in?
I don't know. I don't know if I'm in the. I don't know. I'd have to look. I really don't know what flood zone.
I'm in A, but I'm like pretty close to B, so I'm hoping they don't come knock on my door because I'm not going anywhere. But without my animals, and I'm gonna ride it out. So I figure I'll just tie a floaty to a tree and drink beer, or something like that.
Well,
I mean, it's.
That'd be quite an adventure, man. If we buy this, he's got a beer on a floaty tied to the tree.
It'll be my Florida man moment right there.
And you'll have like a couple coolers with all your snakes in it floating next to you.
Oh yeah, man. I already found the high ground in my house where I can stash everybody. They're gonna have to double up on some of the tubs, but we'll make it work. Hey, Melissa.
Yeah, Lakeland is a little far off, so it's not gonna be effective as us. A little bit closer to. I'm 12 miles from the actual bay. So I'm not worried about flooding unless it's a tsunami. But my issue is that I'm in a valley part of where I live, and our houses are elevated up because I live right off of a lake.
Yeah, yours is on a high hill. You got to be like 5 or 6 feet above the street.
Yeah, absolutely. You've been here, So at the end of the day, I would figure that if it was going to, I have to worry about flooding, and my pool overflows a lot of times.
Oh, and yeah,
my step that we have back there. The last hurricane came through. It was just about to break, but it didn't. So tonight, when I get done with the show, because we want to make sure everybody's, having fun, I'll go out there and put the bags up, and I usually build a little brick wall, and the water kind of runs around. So it's kind of good. It works pretty good. Dan said, my family's freaking out. Booked it to South Florida. My tegus are at my buddy's house. I'm staying.
Wait, your family went south?
So your whole family went to South Florida where it's hitting first? That's real good. That's real good. And why did you leave your house, Mr. Daniel? Miami-Dade, to be precise, yeah. I was talking to someone down earlier, and they're getting pretty saturated with water. What's up, Michelle? How you doing?
It's going through. Hey, Michelle.
It's going really nuts. I know. So, best you guys being in Orlando, storms are watered down by the time they get here. Yep.
Yeah, it gets goes off the land, and it knocks down their intensity or whatever.
But all you do when you go outside in Orlando is you see signs for theme parks, too many motherfuckers, and dirty lakes. When I want to get excited, I just want to go down to the water side one time, just hang out by the ocean. I want to be a lot closer. So I guess, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? I mean, that's.
Yeah, no doubt.
We will, Michael. I think we're going to be okay. I think.
Thanks, Michael.
Like I said,
not super worried. I'm not worried at all, really. I've been through a couple hurricanes in this house, and even though it's in far south Tampa, the street floods a little bit. We get walking catfish on the street all the time.
That's awesome.
It's pretty cool, actually. And so I'm kind of looking forward to that. I'll be eating walking catfish if all hell breaks loose. And but no, I don't think it's going to be a big deal. They're saying now it's going to hit south of us anyway. It's going to landfall somewhere between Sarasota and Fort Myers, is what they've been saying this afternoon. So it's going to miss us to an extent, at least like the big part of it. So we're just going to.
Yeah, I was still reading that where I'm at. I'm probably going to get close, anywhere to up to 70 miles an hour, maybe 80-mile-an-hour winds. Dude, with as many animals as I have, I'm going to be sitting on until I lose. If I lose power, which I probably will, I'm going to go up the second story. I got it where I can spot all the things that I have, and all my major stuff is locked down and inside the concrete hurricane room, which I have the brick and mortar room in my home, and so all the big stuff's in there. And I've got big stuff. I could turn some of my stuff loose, and it would be like a movie of Anaconda. Let me catch up here. So this is why I live where the air hurts my face. Where the air hurts my
Cold?
face.
Is it cold? Is that what you're saying?
Or super hot.
Or super hot?
Attempting to prep. I live right on the canal. I'd be all right. The canal, you'd be good. Michael, that's very cool.
No.
Dan said he bit his own. Oh, I see. Britt needs us. That's why I stayed. That's right. There you go.
Yeah, I just might.
He's staying for the curator.
Hey, what's up, Dave? David, I've been meaning to hit you back on Instagram about the snakes. It's been crazy busy between school and the impending Hurricane Ian.
Gotcha, Melissa. Gotcha.
Yeah, but you have like nor'easters there, probably. Maybe not.
So my thing is here's what I worry about. When you want to talk about like hurricanes, right? When they get up to like class 4, class 5, it's not the hurricane you got to worry about. It's those damn tornadoes.
Yep.
You know, I lived in the first one I was in the 90s.
Oh, me too.
In the 90s, where I was up in this part of Florida.
80s.
So, we were just me and my buddy Chops, man. We were like at the place where we were going to work that day. We took care of all the horses. Everything was put away, and we were outside and we heard what sounded like fucking wind blowing through a tiny tunnel, like whoa, like it was intense.
That's what you hear.
So here comes this thing, man, going around. Went all around our apartment complex. Went through this one side street, hit the whole fucking Blockbuster, dude. There were rental movies, tapes now, motherfucker, not CDs, tapes blown all over the fucking place. Unbelievable, man.
Oh, that's some good looting right there, though.
Yeah, they were everywhere. The whole grocery store, the roof was ripped off. That thing went through, completely missed us. Terrifying, dude. There were sticks and shit and sand and little rocks flying. Unbelievable.
They're narrow, like where their scope is. You can be one street away from it. It'll tear the street up. Like when I was in Oklahoma, I saw that a lot. I drove through a moor where they had like a what is it, Cat 5 hurricane, like the highest one, and one side of the street, like all the buildings were splintered, like they were made out of toothpicks, and the other side of the street, the buildings were untouched. The lawns were still perfect, nothing was ripped up. So it goes in such a narrow scope, and they have it narrowed down to, they'll say on the radio, if you live between this block and here, get underground now or be prepared.
Yep.
Oh, thanks, David. I promise I'll get you. I haven't forgotten about you.
If I had a tornado flat through here, I'm going in the pool.
There you go. Make it a water spout.
I'm going right in the pool, man. You get down way underwater like that, you got a pretty good chance.
Yeah, no doubt. They say you're supposed to lay in a ditch. So I think being in the pool anyway, even without the water, I think you'd be pretty good.
Yeah.
If the tornado, it skips it, like bounces or whatever when it goes over a ditch. That's why they tell you to get out of your car. Definitely do not stay in your car if you're in a tornado, because you will pretty much die, if it's strong enough to move your car.
You're going to die.
That's what it's. You're going to die.
Michelle says that she has to worry about the storm surge. I didn't realize you lived that close to the ocean, dude.
Here, too. It's, that's what they warn us about here. And we have a mandatory evacuation order where I am, and, I'm not evacuating. So they'll have to come drag me out kicking and screaming.
I think they can call it mandatory, but I don't really think they can arrest you and take you out.
Yeah, I don't think so either. it should be at your own risk. You're on your property. Exactly. You're protecting your stuff. And I'm going to tell them if they show up here. First of all, I'm probably going to be like, when you run out of candy on Halloween and you hide behind the couch. That's pretty much what I'm going to do if the cops show up here trying to get me out.
I saw something similar in Joplin after those tornadoes. I was out working a couple of months after.
Oh, yeah. Sure. A lot of tornadoes out there. I stayed there one night on my way home from when I lived in Oklahoma back
there. They do. I was just talking to him. I just said they do. I was answering this stuff.
No worries.
Go ahead. What were you saying, Oklahoma?
Oh, no. Shit, no, I forgot. Damn it. Train of thought. I've been smoking a lot today.
Me too.
Oh, yeah. It's sometimes
part of the Me Too movement. Me too.
It's kind of, now I don't have school all week. School got canceled, tomorrow, which is the only other day that we have. No, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So that's, I don't go to school, but it's all like a lot of redundant stuff anyway, right now. Right. No big deal. But, it's in Oklahoma. What the fuck was I going to say about Oklahoma?
Thanks a lot, David. We appreciate you coming in, man. I'm sorry you don't feel well, so enjoy your
evening. David, be safe and feel better, man. Like, so you're not here, are you? Who's actually in Florida? I know Michelle is, and me and
There's
Troy.
a couple people here. There's probably more people that are on here. I've got numbers, and I have more numbers than I do comments. But I was going to tell you a story. So the other day we were prepping up some stuff and getting everything going and getting ready to do a show. I had a show to do in Orlando, and my kangaroo gets out the front door.
Oh no!
My dad's like, "Roo's coming out," but remember, he's imprinted on me, so he'll come right back to me. Won't let me really grab him. But do you remember the song "St. Elmo's Fire" from the movie?
Yeah.
Well, it's like, I can see a new horizon. Remember that part? That motherfucker took off so fast, bro. I could see that's going off in his head while he's running. And I mean, he got so fast, he started doing those side kicks where he kick to the side, shoot up, and then he comes all the way back and he flies by me again, and then he flies, and Cody comes out, he's shaking his little bottle shaker, and he comes up like this.
Oh my God.
And he's like, "Oh no, man."
Gotta meet him soon.
He sees me, bro. He sees me. He looks at me. He's like, "I'll play with you." And he ran at me like an NFL liner and took me down. I caught him, but he took me down. He's such a good little dude, man. So while we were prepping today, we just had the kangaroo running around out back with us all day. So everywhere we were, he's standing by me. And then we would do some more, and he'd go running off, but he'd come right back real fast, breathing all hard.
Oh, that's awesome.
He sits up. He puts his head up and looks around, dude. You'll love him, Jeff.
I can't wait, dude. I gotta get my hands over there.
I don't know what time, if we're even making it to the Salem right now, how we're going to do that.
When's the trip supposed to leave?
Thursday morning at 5.
Oof. Hopefully, it'll come and go tomorrow, and there'll be flights out. I'm glad Ruby got out of here.
Nope, I read today Tampa's going to be closed through Friday.
No shit, dude. That sucks.
All the employees, dude, can't be there.
Yeah. I mean,
they're surging, and they were mandatory. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I got friends at hospitals. They bring their sleeping bags and toiletries and whatever because they sleep there. Once they're there, they can't go home until everything's done. And
they are, Michael. They're pretty cool.
Oh yeah, they're badass. I definitely. When I own a house, I'll talk more exotic animals for sure. I want them all.
The one good thing about kangaroos is I know they call them exotic, but they're a lot more like and you listen, I want to talk about something.
Please.
There was a man that was killed 86 years. There's not been a kangaroo fatality in 86 years. That's longer than I believe anybody has been alive on this show, myself or anybody watching.
Yeah, I'm close, but not quite there yet.
Yeah, right. This man had a full male, and what I mean by that is he wasn't completely whole. He was intact.
Intact, yeah.
So I was thinking about the research of it, and I was reading people on Twitter. Oh, if you have because I have a Twitter account, and that's what was sent to me. So they would say, "Oh, well, if you have to, have exotic animals, what do you expect? Stupid people, stupid shit." I'm like, okay, well. So I had to tell them horses are going to kill more people this year, than kangaroo have in the existence of them being alive.
Horses, snakes.
People have bled out by being chewed up by rodents because they shoved them up their ass to have fun.
Yeah, that would suck, man.
More people die of that than kangaroos. And the man was also 77 years old with a fully intact male, right? Adult.
How long do they live? What's the lifespan on a kangaroo?
I think it says like 16 years to 20 years, I think, something like that. On the reds. I'm not sure the other ones. I mean, that's what I...
Oh, the guy was 77, not the kangaroo.
The guy was 77 years old.
Okay. The kangaroo.
So I started reading it, and I'm looking into it, and you have to go through all the jackass comments because all these telephone tough guy, wannabe animal rights activist dickweeds always got something to say, and they have no idea what they're talking about. You know what I mean?
Oh, I do. So, exactly what you mean.
The cops killed the kangaroo because when they tried to get to the old man. So I'm going to explain some behavior here. So when they tried to get to the old man, he was defending it. He wouldn't let him near it. Kangaroos don't kill their prey and hoard it like they're going to eat it later. You know what I'm saying? They don't even really kill prey. They kill a threatening once in a while to something maybe smaller than them, but most of the time it's a fight. We all see where the guy punched the kangaroo in the face because he was attacking his dog because he didn't want him in his territory, but the kangaroo was like, "What? I got knocked around," and he left. Okay? So I think he was bonded with that man, and in a moment of maybe fun playing with him, he got a little rough because the guy didn't die until after the paramedics got there.
Right. So he could have had.
That tells me he's like, "You're not coming near my buddy. You're not part of my herd." That was more like a little herd mentality deal. That he wasn't defending them like, "You're not allowed near the body because it's my kill" kind of thing. I really think he loved that old man. And I think that someone's going to go, well, that's a very anthropomorphic statement you made there. But I'm using it because it's layman. It's layman term. So if they're going to be, I mean, Jeff would understand certain words, but a lot of people watching wouldn't understand that because I don't care either. But you just have to use it in the zoological industry.
Or they people do it all the time.
A weenie, and you got people coming into the zoo starting at 20 years old, and some of us that have been in it for 30 years professionally think they know more because they read it on Google.
Yep.
Just like PetSmart people. If anybody out there wants to hire somebody for animals and they go, I worked at PetSmart, tell them to fuck off and get out of the door. That's what you tell them. I don't know what they teach those cocksuckers over there because they're ridiculous.
I don't think they teach them anything. I think that's the point. And I think some guy will come in and be like, well, I'm a reptile expert. So they'll be like, all right, you're in charge of the reptiles, little Jimmy. Just to be fair, not little Jimmy Riffle, different little Jimmy. But,
yeah, little Jimmy.
Little Jimmy, you're in charge
of
the
little Jimmy.
And then little Jimmy gets like a big head and he's like, well, I'm in charge of the reptiles at PetSmart. So I'm a reptile expert, Yeah,
like, so I was buying, let me tell you what happened. I got a story. I'm going to catch up on a couple of these comments, Jeff, because we got to respond.
Yeah, go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Michelle said her dad has been in the hospital since last Tuesday. At least he'll be riding the hurricane out there. Yeah, that's good. At least he'll be safe.
Yep.
Kimberly Ann, I don't know who this is, but she said, hi, love and miss you all. Be safe this week.
I think that's Satan's bride or Satan's wife. I think
no way. It's his fucking daughter if I think it's the one I'm thinking about.
Thank you so much, Kim. Really appreciate it.
Well, duh, from Samantha. She's always got something cool to say. YouTube degrees. That's right, Craig.
Oh, yeah, without a doubt.
Oh, look who's here. So Sydney's on, man. Sydney used to work with us. She's rad. It's good to see her. Good to see you, Sydney. Glad you jumped in. So I'll tell you my story. She just wanted to respond, so I put it up on the screen. I want to tell you my story. So, I have baby Laterostris, and they eat crickets right now because they're little and they like to hunt. And so Kurt and I will put them on stuff for like debris, like lettuce, something that's not going to hurt them in their little pool. And their crickets like crawl around the edge of the lettuce, and they're tiny little motherfuckers, and they slide up and they pop their head up and then they launch out of the water. Like, it's just neat to watch them because they act like full-blown adults. So I'm like, shit, I dropped Cody off over to his job, and I went over and I guess going to Petco, and I'm going to get some crickets and stuff. So they're like, well, what is it that you're feeding? We also carry mealworms, and, a lot of people, I go, I'm feeding Laterostris.
Yeah,
he looks at me.
He's
like, what exactly is that? I said, it's a big reptile. And he eats crickets? I go, yeah, it's a baby. But thank you for trying to tell me what to do. First of all, I would spend $8 and have 1,000 crickets shipped to my house normally, but I've been busy and haven't been able to order it. So I come in here and spend 12 on 10 of them. So I would never come to you unless it's an emergency, dude.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. I don't know. And then this other guy's like, well, you can do a variety of them. Like, you don't even know what you're talking about. Now that's like the last time I want to deal with a Petco or a PetSmart employee. I don't know what they teach them, dude.
This much.
I know. And then and it always goes there. You'll go there and like, I've got a, and I want to say this too. I don't make fun of any reptiles, but I make fun of the people who own them. Now,
it's true.
I had a leopard gecko, dude. That was the most badass bastard I ever had. He was awesome. Right. And he would sit with you and he's like this little fat little tube of meat, And if I had him still, I'd still have him. I'd still have him. Delaney Hall. Hey, what's up? How are you doing?
Hey, what's up, Lena?
And then when Sydney said, hey, I'm glad you're here. It's cool to see you, Sydney. I'm glad everything's going out good. But so when you think about feeding different things or whatever, man, I just don't know. I think they just really don't know what they're doing. And I mean,
oh yeah, they'll sell you what they got or what they get a commission on,
and they'll be like, well, my leopard gecko eats, or my ball python. You can feed a ball python a fucking golf ball.
Yep.
If someone goes, well, my ball pythons don't eat, it's because they don't want to.
Right.
Or they don't want to, or they know they have cancer and they're dying. Let us not forget how smart reptiles are.
Too.
So Melissa, let's see here. People keep telling me to go to PetSmart to hold snakes that have been working through a fear. Try to explain why it's a bad idea. Are you saying that you try to explain why it's a bad idea? And the issue that you have is called ophidiophobia. And you can work through it. You can start with smaller things, but you don't have to go to PetSmart to do that kind of stuff. You can go. There's a lot of people that would do that for you. Like go to a reptile show and say, hey, can I hold this or that? And there's a lot of people that will help you through that. And there's also, I know some of the herp places have people who do little classes for people who are scared like that, for phobias. So I understand that.
Yeah, absolutely. There's parks that do like snake days where people come in with a whole bunch of snakes. I really want to start doing a little bit more of that. I got offered somebody told me if I was doing like parties and stuff like that he wants to refer me.
You know, Craig's so chill, man. He like blends in, and I can imagine start like, you know, you're talking to the wrong person. And two things are cool about that. That his daughter thinks he's like a hero, and she's probably awesome. Learned a whole lot too. So that's really cool. So he's a hero to her, and she's learned a lot from him. So it's like, don't deal with my dad or don't deal with me, which is really cool. That's awesome, Craig.
She probably knows 100 times more than any employee there. So
Junior Roll and Hi Kim. Now, this guy, if you ever want to learn how to hold snakes or tubes of meat properly, you definitely want to do it with Jason Ryder. You know what I mean, Jason? Oh, man, hold on a second. Jason's on the show. Let me look something up. I got to do this. I got to do it, Jeff.
Do it. I'm waiting.
So keep talking about PetSmart and stuff, and then I'll get back to the stuff because Melissa's explaining some stuff.
Well, I think that they should actually hire people like us to come in and train their employees and give them an idea of what should eat what, or who knows. It's people all the time will tell me, oh, I brought my hog nose to PetSmart or Petco and they sold me a light and this and that. I was like, you don't need any of that stuff. Bring it all back. You need this, and this. That's it.
I remember that. That's just people.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. And they want to be knowledgeable and they want to show that they're knowledgeable to people. You know what I mean?
I started watching a lot of the guys on here. I want to go to see Brian at the Reptarium. Yeah, that'd be a cool time. You should go do that.
Brian's a good dude. He breeds a lot of really cool snakes a year. People don't realize how big his operation is. Brian's operation is freaking huge.
At the Reptarium?
I'm talking about his breeding operation too. It's just outrageous. I don't know if you've ever seen his the videos where he's in his reptile room and there's just racks as far as the eye can see. But I finally invested in a big boy nice rack this weekend.
That sounds really good, Jeff.
Yeah,
that would be something I would say in front of you just to hear what the fuck you're going to say. I thought a couple things was about $6 to $8 grand, basketball size softball.
It was.
He invested in a rack, folks.
Oh shit! I didn't realize in front of the camera. I got a big boy rack this weekend, so I dropped some dollars on that, and I'm gonna make all my racks the same. I have like 11 different racks. Ridiculous.
Jeff, I think we ought to get a job at PetSmart just for a week.
Oh my god, that'd be awesome.
Ourselves doing it and then upload.
Welcome to PetSmart. I'm Jeff. This is Troy. He's a reptile expert.
I wouldn't say that. I'd be like, hi, my name's Justin, and this is Ricky Martin, my buddy.
Right.
So I had people at PetSmart that told me I was going to kill my turtles by having them in a 100-gallon aquarium. Man, are you guys ready for some good shit? I got some good shit coming up, so sit tight because I'm about to release the giant.
Oh, boy.
Bam! Look at that, dude. It's Jason Ryder.
What's up, man?
Hey, how you guys doing?
Great.
Good time. Great. We were talking about, all the prepping. I'm sure Dan, too. I'm sure Dan's had his hands full over there.
Oh, I'm sure he has.
Yeah.
They got to bag up everything.
Oh, man, that's rough.
Man, at least venomous-wise, got to get it all in bags before the...
Yeah. I was counting bags and sterilite tubs, and I'm about 90 short, I think. So they're going to have roommates. Hopefully the floodwaters don't come because everybody's going to end up on my dining room table because it's like 4 feet high and my kitchen counters. I've done work.
You did the math though, right? You know how high you need to get?
Oh yeah, without a doubt. I live up on a nice pitch too. It's not quite as high as Troy's house, but I live maybe a foot or two above the street level.
I don't know why they put mine up so high, man. I put logs under my dually, make sure it don't roll back and kill the neighbors.
Yeah, you got a steep driveway, dude.
I know. Skating is one of the best though. I like skating that driveway.
Oh, I bet.
Let's hit up some of these things. Michael Forser, hey guys, are you guys other people I would ask questions to, and not some moron at a box store? And I totally,
thank you, Michael.
We're honored, man. We're honored. We would not tell you, but we would go to Jason.
There's a lot of knowledge in this room right here. Let me tell you.
Well,
put your tub up in the water so your snakes can swim if they get hot during the hurricane. That sounds like a PetSmart thing.
Yeah. No, she told me that last night. That's my buddy.
You got to make sure you're nice to some of those people though, because You never know who you're talking to. Sometimes those guys do know what they're talking about, but everybody just treats them like crap.
You're such a nice guy. God
I was gonna
damn
say, I
it.
love that Sonny, the Jason Ryder disposition is amazing. You just came in right.
We need to just we need to bite his neck and see whatever the hell keeps him so happy. We'll vampire him up.
Yeah.
That's awesome, bro. But let's remember, I got to be careful now. So let me see. We are in we started a little late, so it's no big deal. I can run a little over. But we have Jason Ryder here, and he's on a pretty popular TV show, and I think I have to be very careful now what I say because his opinions don't reflect our disgusting opinions, Chef. He's very family friendly for his TV persona, and you have to be. So
I'm keeping it down.
I can't really talk about too much because there'll be a hater like, oh, fucking Jason, fuck him. Look at this show. They were talking about a vagina, and they'll be like, oh, well, we got to look at that. He's on Disney Plus or whatever.
That's nature, man.
That is nature. It's true.
I know, but the funny thing though, sometimes we don't talk about nature. We talk about big dummies, idiots.
Small dummies, more idiots.
But it makes you wonder. Like, you think I always think to myself, like, "Hey, are we just as stupid to them?" Because,
there's somebody out there having a show about talking about you.
I hope so.
Right?
I know that I've got some haters, so I like it. Though.
I am
because if everybody liked me, I'd be like Jesus, and then I wouldn't really know who liked me because everybody's like kisses your ass. You got to have people that hate and use that hatred for propulsion.
I mean, clearly not everybody liked him. Yeah, otherwise, you wouldn't.
I never got the chance to meet him, so I want to be fair, Jason.
That's true.
And the Jews didn't even believe he was the real deal. So I mean, they're like, "Where are you from? You're not from this hood. Get out of here. You're lying about that. That's not your dad. That is not your dad. You're a prophet. That ain't your daddy."
Right. Maybe I was gonna say maybe he just started a rumor about himself, and then, God's my dad.
Exactly.
He was just bragging to some people. It just it cascaded, and then he's like, "This is my life now. I just have to keep going with it."
Oh, you got it. You got to live the lie, man. After that, you can't. It's too hard not to.
Dude, I just think he gave everybody edibles that were at his shows or his speeches where he did, and they all were like, "He's so cool, man." He was talking about how he can make fish rain. Fish will rain. If Jesus was anything, he's a wizard. I say it every time. Him and Moses, they were at war. They both picked Earth. Moses failed. Jesus said he died, but he really didn't.
Moses
was still walking around. What's that?
Moses was successful.
Moses was badass, but he was,
He smote a shitload of Egyptians in the Red Sea.
Yeah, you know what I think's really cool about that?
Smote
is that you really look into that story, and we've talked about it, Jeff. The fact that they went down to get him, and when they brought him up, he was floating in a basket in the River Nile, I think.
Right. Right.
How long would you live in the Nile? In a
basket? About 48 seconds.
That's a snack basket right there.
That's exactly like, look at that, right? So I followed the story. So it was like, then they bring him up, they look at him, and he's kind of glowing. It says, I'm talking about the Bible says his skin's aglow, whatever, blah, blah, blah.
That's because he was so white.
Right, but he was like unlike any baby they'd ever seen. They make that very clear, And so he's the only one. So when they carried the ark around, it was covered. He was the only one that could go sit inside and be in the presence of it. Nobody else. He's the only one that God would fucking talk to because nobody else could look at God but him. And so he climbed up to the tippy top of the mountain and he made some deals with God and he came down with the plaque, just like Carlton said. He said, "It was the only one that saw him." He goes, "We're going to get rid of these commandments. We only need 2." Remember? And he put it all together. And then he turned the staff to a snake and then killed all those Egyptians by splitting the sea.
See, he was one of the world's first herpers.
The only cool thing that I read there that Jesus ever did was beside get pissed off and flip all the greedy tables in the nightclub or wherever he was at, his strip club, is he could raise people from the dead supposedly. That's kind of cool, but that's his superpower.
Yeah,
he did that? I didn't even know he did that.
Yeah, didn't he raise a man from a tomb? He did, didn't he, Jeff?
Yeah, Jesus did?
Yeah.
Yeah, Jesus did, I think. I don't think.
Yeah, he raised the dead. That's why I send the thing up, but everybody they'll send it. Somebody sent it to me first, and I kept it. I'm like, oh, listen, motherfucker, I'm using that every Easter. So we've got a Jesus dressed as Michael Jackson. Remember, Beat It in the black and red, and he looks like a zombie, and it says Happy Zombie Day.
I mean, he came back from the dead, right?
That's what they said. I'm just saying. So it's Happy Zombie Day.
There you go.
He brought himself back from the dead. That's the only one I know of for sure. Or somebody brought him back.
Pet stores to be jealous. Yep, all of my people. Oh, to be Jeeves, all my people. Yep, they're you know. Holy shit! Look who it is. Look who it is.
What's up, Brittany?
Look at that, Jason.
Hey, what's up?
Hey, I'm pulling a Jason coming in at the last 20 minutes. Got the kids in bed. One more to go, and being sick sucks.
Oh, sick
You're
during
doing a good
that.
job of being here. She can't really talk, but she's doing a Jason. I think that's so cool.
Hey.
Yes, Lazarus, Judy, Lazarus. That's right. Oh, look at that. That's your buddy there, Jeff. The OG necromancer.
Damn.
Brittany said I switched to Facebook, so she's back in. Cool.
Ooh.
She only came on because she told me in the text, I'm just really sick. I'm sorry.
She thought she was going to lose her spot to me, so she had to come in and defend
it. I know, because you came on. She's like, oh, shit. Oh, shit. Let me do this. Hey, I'm here. Because everybody wants to be with Jason Ryder. So, yeah, you guys can look up Jason. He has a really good show. It's actually really fun. And as a matter of fact, it is pretty explanatory. And they do it in a little more layman terms, so you'll understand their verbiage and the way they talk. And then he breaks it down and says this. And so it's a really good show.
I like how they did that. That was one thing I thought was super cool, was that they let us explain it, and they tried to keep it simple. Yeah.
And because not everybody would learn that. And so they would have a she said that's right, by the way. She said that's right. He hung up on us. Okay, man, we'll bring him back in.
We'll get him back. That was awesome. That was
I know you try to jump the bridge there. It's okay. But the show's good, Jason. I mean, one of those episodes that really stick out is the one where the big tortoise got sick.
That's the first one.
Yeah, it always sticks out because, you watch everybody, and I know this because I've been in the zoo industry or being contracted or helping or whatever. Not quite as cool as Jason, but I've been around it. These people develop relationships with these animals. Sometimes a blue-tongued skink that's been part of education. They bond with them. But when you see that episode, I can tell they're not faking. One, because I know Jason. And two, they were really upset when the animal just couldn't make it. And once those things start to die, they die as slow as they live,
It's hard to watch, too. And it's hard to make those decisions when you know it's going downhill, but you want to believe they're coming back,
Yeah, no doubt.
And there are really people like that in some of the zoos that really care about the animals, and they give them their last meal and they treat them good. The Brownsville Zoo, Colette's really good about, treating the animals as a person. And I think the biggest mistake is that we're all taught that we're human, so we're elite. We can kill, fuck, and burn anything we want. That's really not true. I don't really see any difference. Like, I'm weird. I try to throw a cockroach outside. You know what I mean? Like, hey, man, leave him alone. He's just trying to live. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I try to be like that.
Me, huh?
You can't.
I do that stuff. Every once in a while, dude. I gotta go Viking on some rats that try to take over my bird cages and shit. And I have to go in my brain. I go, you chose death. You came on this side of the fence.
It's a circle of life.
You chose death. So those guys got to go at times. Usually I try to just run them off or figure out a way, and you can do it, using different things. But because I always think to myself, what if that was me, man? What if that was me that was that possum crossing the road and this piece of shit swerved over to run over them because they're scared of them and they look like rats?
Well, that pisses me off. People do it on purpose. There's just no cause.
Turtle poppers are the worst people on the planet.
Oh.
You know what? I had a thing I wanted to do with that. I mean, if you're innocent and you do it, you're just an idiot. So fuck off. But we need to get a fake gopher tortoise or turtle and fill it with those 4-pronged tacks.
Oh, there you go.
Fly right into the tire. Not put it in the road.
Across the road with a string.
So for those of you that want to get me kicked off Facebook because I'm going to try to murder somebody with, a turtle bomb, that's not what I said. I said put it on the shoulder. So when someone goes to do it, I mean those big ones. I mean like stop stick spikes, and then they hit it, done. And we film it.
Just put a little sign on it that says caution spikes.
Yeah.
Real small.
People will definitely still run it over.
But you're covered then.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because you purposely swerve to do that. All it'll do is just blow a tire.
Holding those spikes.
Listen, I agree 100%. Brittany said she saves them too. And here's another thing that's interesting. We preach about, don't do this. You can't go there. Conservation, right? Don't interfere with the animal and pick it up off the road. So now I'm going to come in with $21 million. and I want this right here at a condo, level it. I can go buy a permit and just fuck them up. I got to take 10 out or whatever. And the rest of them, I just pour concrete down in their holes because now they realize that they have to fill them before they build because there has been incidents in Florida where they go for tortoise and their foundation collapsed underneath, dropped down by 6 inches in places. So the tortoises were trying to come out or whatever, and obviously they couldn't.
So they kept digging. Yeah.
Sorry, my crocodiles are arguing inside.
You got everything you did?
Yep. Everything except right now, except my emu. I'm leaving them out. And the big giant tortoises that would take a category 7 to move, I'm leaving them out.
Yeah.
They have their house. They have their house, but where they're sitting, it's just going to be heavy rain, and they like to come out, especially sulcutas, dude. Sometimes I go skating at night, and I have to wait till a little drizzle stops. And there are some people in my neighborhood that have sulcutas. Or run to the store in the car, and you're in torrential downpour, and that bastard's out there having a drink and eating grass. Like, yeah, the rain.
It's like it's
I tell people, you don't have to give a sulcutta water ever. You don't have to.
No.
You know.
They get it from their dad.
Yeah, and sometimes people overwater their sulcuttas or their tortoises that are arid species, like the Madagascar ones, and things like that. They get mushy and they pee every time you pick them up, or they have big sloppy shits. If you feed a sulcutta torch right, it's a dry biscuit that I like to throw at Cody like a football, and when they get too wet, it's gross. So I leave a bowl in there, Jason, because they go, oh, well, it has to be steaming or whatever they dictate, but they don't need it. I don't care what anybody says, they don't need it. It rains 2 times a year where they're native to, 2 times, and there's no rivers there, buddy.
I don't water mine. There is a bowl back there if they decide that, but it's just full of rainwater. It's what comes in.
Like if I was like, oh man, we're having a huge drought, we got to give them a little water, something, spray them down, give them. But on a normal Florida, it rains every single day. They come out and drink their fill, and I think they do it on purpose closer to winter. So when you pick them up, they're 9 billion pounds, and you can't put them anywhere.
Well, and I think a lot of people though think about how arid they are, and that's why you end up with so many pyramided, because they don't give them the proper humidity as a young tortoise.
Right.
Because those young sulcatas have been shown to need a higher humidity to have that proper shell development. So it's kind of like both sides of it, where the big guys are out a lot more in that dry climate, where the young ones are down into these burrows, going to the bathroom, making a little pile of humidity for themselves.
That's wonderful.
Interesting. That's some Jason Ryder knowledge that I did not expect.
He is absolutely right. So the way they're raising, they didn't know this for a long time. There's a lot of issues on that. Sometimes having a heat lamp over your tortoise, where you dry the whole thing out, you think it's warm. That's a real good way to start pyramids. That's 1. 2, overfeeding it shit you shouldn't feed it, and not keeping it moist enough. He's absolutely right. So now they're raising the radiateds during their critical years. And Jason Abels, those guys are awesome at raising radiateds. I'm sorry, hands down. They do have some tortoises there that are distorted, but those that they have got as already old adults, they were already 30-something years old. So and Heidecker, his partner Heidecker, he showed me some of the ways they're raising the galops, man. It's amazing. And they start growing like they should, because they're not quite like an Aldab, where it's a high dome tortoise. They look like a little gopher turtle. When they're babies, if you saw one down the road, you're like, oh, look, a gopher. I mean, you wouldn't even, unless you really knew, you really wouldn't know, because it looks like a little gopher tortoise. So they're black, they're cool. So they're raising them in these moisture chambers and just the right level, like it would be naturally, so you don't get the fungus and all that. And these animals come out like little light bulbs, and they glaze them, with the water. Go take a picture, and you're like, dang.
Yeah, they post really cool pictures after they hatch too, of all those, and then they say they're leaving them in those incubation chambers, like you're saying, and they just. I follow 3Js on there. Man, they have some cool animals.
When I very first learned about the humidity chambers years and years ago, I wanted radiateds. And I mean years ago. We're going back to probably pre-2000. And I looked into a lot of that. And what Jason said, they pee in the sand down there, and they nestle down in there after they've outdone there, so they can sit and keep the shell moist. So I started trying stuff, Jason, I want to tell you. Anyways, I finally got one. It's absolutely awesome. And then I had to buy a truck for my company. So I ended up having to sell it. Well, the person who bought it, our buddy Michael still knows the person who has it where it's at. So I want to go see it after so many years, just because the cool thing about it was, Jason, and you'll understand this, is it had a snowy yellow head and arms. There was no black at all on it.
Oh, that's cool.
He was awesome. So he's very rare. You see him when you really yellow, a couple black, but he was slick all the way down to his toenails. that yellow. It was really
Really
cool.
cool.
So yeah, the radiators are doing it, and that's where I learned a lot of that from the guy that I got the babies from. His name was Bill Zvickian. I'm sure you're familiar with him. And he was real, he had the plowshares and all that. And that's the first time he's like, and he only told me, oh yeah, it's radiated. They get up underneath the shrub and they continually urinate into the ground to create that, to get this look. So they're not. I'm like, man, So that
Well, and
when
there
you said it, was like, man, this guy's. I shouldn't try
There
to
was-
even talk
there
about
was a
stuff.
study,
He knows everything.
a few years back about that too, where they did that based on growth rates and pyramiding, and they measured protein intake and all that to do the variables. And the biggest impactor was the humidity. So even if they had a high protein diet, all that happened was they just grew faster. So it was not necessarily that it increased the pyramiding, it just pyramided faster, because if they had the bad humidity
Right.
with the
You're
high
right.
protein, they grew faster with the bad humidity. So
I did a couple things, and I wanted to see. Everybody's like, oh, you should really raise your stuff outside. Do it. So I raised these 3 redfoots from one of my clutches outside, and then I raised my other 3 that happened a year or 2 years later inside. Now that it's been years, every one I left outside, Jason, pyramided slightly.
really,
Isn't that weird?
might just be our climate. It might not be perfect.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Isn't that kind of weird? And
Yeah.
you keep them inside, and you do the, whatever, Colette and Kurt will talk about, because, Kurt's like a major tortoise guy, and Colette's like one of the best at it. So, and they tell you how to do it, and you get this nice, smooth animal.
I like
I
using cool mist humidifiers with them, just because it helps bump that humidity without making it super wet, so you don't end up with that shell rot, but you get that humidity up.
So here's something I did. So I took pure olive oil, and I would put it on a cotton swab inside, and I would rub their shells with it every day. So we find out that
lock that moisture in.
And you know what? I'll send you a picture of it, the little bastard, later, man. Started raising an aldab that I got, doing that, and once a week we put the oil on him, and he's like, boop, he's like this perfect. If you were to take a baseball and sit it down and put legs on it, he's like this little. He's amazing. I'll send you a picture of it.
I love aldabras; they're so cool.
And I didn't do anything, like I didn't put him in a chamber or anything. I raised him when he was little with his little redfoot pals, and then right now at his age, Jason, he's an asshole. He's an asshole. If first he runs from me. If I need to get him, he's like, oh, fuck it. And he tries to take off, and he runs, because they're dickheads. Aldabs are dicks. And then, so I'll put the food down, and he's all asleep in the corner. You know how they like to stick their head in? And the redfoots are like, hey, the light's on in the kitchen. It's time. And they know what time it is. So they all move their way to the rock. They all walk to the flat rock I have, and they sit on it. And then I'll cut a little very ever so little bits of banana shavings, like with a carrot shaver. I give him a little lettuce and their little tortoise shell sprinkled in. I see him, he starts twitching. It's like he's coming out of it or trying to adjust where he is in the gravel, because he buries himself, or in the mulch, and he like jumps up and he like does this little walk twist, and he sees them eating, and he runs as fast as he can and plows them all over through the middle of it, and then goes back and eats. It's unbelievable. He's a child. Isn't it awesome that he does that?
That's fantastic.
I laugh. I set it up every time. I'm videoing. I'm gonna show you. And if
I want to see that.
If I go to him, I'm in the kitchen, he hears me. He's like, "Fuck," and he thinks I'm coming to the aquarium. He goes, and he runs to the other side again. He just doesn't like people. And when we have the one that you went in with us, he'll try to run you down and bite your nuts off. Jason, you went in there.
Hey man, it happened
At our place, our Aldabra place, big guy, Roscoe. When you all were there with your family, and he was like,
well, I was too busy
biting, but I'll
with the
still walk
Croc.
over you. I don't care if you're there.
I didn't get to go in with him when I was out there last time, because I was hanging out with you, remember?
Well, go out there and do it. Dan will take you in there, or Brittany, one of them out there will take you in there. Go visit again. As long as it doesn't blow over. Tortoises are truly amazing creatures. They all have such different personalities. I miss Darkman. Yep. But at the end of the day, aldabs are dicks. I love it.
Dude, while we were filming, they were focused on us, and the camera guy, we told him that Al, that big guy, was coming right behind him, and he didn't do anything. And he just stood there, and he nailed him right in the back of both knees with this really expensive camera. The whole guy just toppled over.
Awesome. So what do they do when he runs you over? Does he still try to bite you like Roscoe will do if he gets you?
No, he just knocked you over and then moves on with his life.
Moves on to knock the next person over.
Here's what's really cool about Roscoe. He's close to 700 pounds, so he's a monster.
That's a beat.
Yeah, 6'something", 6'4" something. I mean, I was like, oh, he's about 350. I'm like, you guys are fuck. I don't know what you're smoking. When the newbies would talk about him, I'm like, I've been here when they brought the equine ramp thing and make him go out because they couldn't weigh him any other way. And he was like, at one point, he was over 600 something pounds. But anyways, he will have his neck out, Jason, like really far, trying to bite you. And he'll get all the way up on you. And he's like, oh, I'm gonna bite you hard. And you just grab his neck and start petting it. It's going like this on the back of his neck, and he's like, I'll stand here. And he completely goes completely into a different thing. Completely.
That's what he wanted the whole time, man.
Stroking. We should have somebody record it and play Stroking, that song, Jeff. Stroking. Remember those were roller skating rink songs? Remember back in the 80s?
Yeah. I was just talking about skating the other day with somebody.
I want to open a skating rink so bad and make it like just do different genre nights, man.
Like the United Skates of America or one of those they used to have.
Something like that where we can go at our age and they'll do whatever. Like they can do like 60s music because most people from the 50s that enjoyed that music are no longer here. So there would be a retro crowd, I guess. But you do it. Then you do a 60s night and then you do 70s disco. So you go screw around with your friends and then do an 80s rock and metal, dick rock, which is hair music, dick rock, what I'm talking about. Yep, you got some dick rock and then you have the metal night, in the 90s for like this. I think it would make a killing. I would too. I'd drag Jason to his night, the 90s. I don't know, maybe the 2000s. How old are you, Jason?
I was born in 85.
Oh, okay, good. So he's good going for that.
34? No, wait. What are we in? 22 now? I don't even know anymore.
Jeff, I wouldn't even say when you were born.
I was born in the 60s, man. Late 60s.
I was born right in the middle of the 70s.
75?
Yep. Right. Oh, right on. And so
we're covering a bunch of generations here.
I was gonna say we got three we're just an 80s person in here. Where's Brittany?
Brittany's 87.
87? That's when I graduated high school.
Roscoe will. Yep, that's Brian. Brian worked there too, Brian Graves. Roscoe will eat a child if you let him. He would bite. He'd bite him down. He'd give him a bite. I've seen him get a hold of someone's hand before. And then here's what they do. They get mad. And they're small people. Feeding them, staff. And they'll stick their hand in there. And it'll catch them like, and they yank. And then he gets pissed and scared. And then that entire neck gets sucked back into the shell and pulls the people in there with it.
Oh.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
I'm almost get bit. You just got to take it. Go, just do it. I like the whole deal with it.
Does he ram after he does the bite?
No, he bit their hand by accident because he grabbed the lettuce too hard and he got the finger.
Yeah, does he get scared though and do the shell ram afterwards?
Not he retracts his head so fast and pulls the person into him. Then he hisses when he hisses and takes his back legs and throws his butt up. He'll hiss and open his mouth and he releases it. Yes, he'll do that.
There you go.
I have had experience with that. I was trying to move a Galapagos one time, and they were in a concrete dome that was just big enough for us to maybe kind of halfway walk bent over in. And so we were walking her out, and I was in the corner when the doorways open like it's like this. So there's two gaps where they would come in and go inside. And I was by the corner. I'm like, come on, girl, And she saw me there, and I guess got really scared or upset and pinned me so hard against that wall in there. 4 of the other dudes had to come in and just drag her back.
Maybe she liked you.
Oh, I was stuck in there. And I got really scared one day because I couldn't find my dog, my English bulldog.
Oh, boy.
And I'm like, he got out, but we didn't know where. You know where I found him? I had this giant garbage can that my tortoise lives in named Buddy. An old man gave him to me that couldn't keep him anymore. He's a cell cutter, but he's a big guy. And we were scared. We're looking everywhere. Just so happened to catch his face in the garbage can. The tortoise has him pinned in there and he can't get out. Because I guarantee you that dog went in there, and when Bud came to go in there, he's like, what? Not today. Boom. I know I have it, Jason. I know I have the photo.
Oh, that's classic. I want to see that.
I'm going to keep texting me and reminding me, and I'm going to pull up my folders and find it.
We need that photo, and we need the video of the bowling tortoise that just comes and knocks everybody over.
Oh, I got it. I'll film that. I need to film him. I'll go do that. I'll do it in the morning. He'll do it. I'll film him tonight. Watch what he does when he sees me haul his ass. I could give him the most delightful food he could ever have. The minute he touches the ground, he's like, fuck you, you're here. And he leaves.
I want to see him bowl through all the other animals. Then you say he bolts through a bunch of other tortoises?
Yeah, the little redfoots, the little baby ones that are in there with him. Yeah,
Well,
he's
see that.
outgrowing them. He's outgrowing them. But I try to socialize everything when they're young like that. Like, people don't understand, if you don't socialize crocodiles, a single crocodile is going to die a single crocodile because they just never adapt to that. I mean, I'm sure you're aware.
I mean, yeah, they're a social animal, so that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, well, I know that from experience of moving them, being around them, and seeing how they are in reintroduction. Sometimes we do some conditioning where we try to get them to redo it. A real good thing to do is not feed them for about 2 weeks. Take the one that's in the exhibit or the environment that it's in and remove it completely and keep them out for 2 or 3 days, and then do the introductions with food. Just make
So they're
sure
both being fed separately.
Yeah, but just make sure that do the introduction with the food. So it's a positive thing. Oh, we're both going in here, we're getting fed. But when you take the one out that's dominated the enclosure for a long time, you always got to change the way it looks.
Yeah.
Because now they're in a new environment and that's the way their brain works.
Well, yeah, it's basically moving them both to a new habitat completely, if you do it right.
So
They're too intelligent to go, wow, somebody really did a good job in here. They're far too intelligent for that. They memorize everything down to a science in their brain. And when they go to somewhere new, they're like, fuck it, it's new. Now they'll just study and scan. And I'll tell you, sometimes they'll lay in the same spot, Jeff, for 2 or 3 days without moving with their eyes open. It's unbelievable. Learning and taking all the stuff in. I just so with them in my lifetime, dude. How they study shit that you do. They know when you're coming, what keys you're with. They know that what's going to happen. They know when you, like Flavio, opens the door once, opens the door twice, slams it, then walks in. And then he does the training routine, or we feed him or cut the grass. But if we don't do that, we open it real fast and walk in. He's ready for food. So he knows the difference. Yeah, Jason knows that. He did a good job. He was spotting those guys over there at that big female croc that you always post the videos of. It's absolutely awesome.
Oh, that's Missima. She was awesome.
I can't believe you guys all really wanted to get rid of her for a beaver.
That's speculation, sir. I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah. Believe me, it traveled in the zoo area pretty quick.
Yeah.
People, young kids, greenhorns knew about that before I did. They're like, man, I heard that they're going to get rid of the crocodile, put a beaver exhibit in. I go, what?
Because they called and were trying to place that Temistoma really fast. And everyone's like, why are you trying to place her? So, I mean, everybody knows because you had to tell everyone to move that animal.
Why
so, I mean,
do that?
I don't know.
Nobody cares
but
about
it's still there.
It looks like a capybara with a big old flat tail on the back. But anyway,
it's like a mini capybara.
I'm glad you kept her, Jason, because I think people love to see what they're scared of. So imagine taking all the big cats out of your zoo. All of that's gone out of your zoo. Just imagine that for a minute. And you put things like, I'm going to put Dalmatians over here because they're pretty.
White rabbit.
We're going to do some of the English lops in this big exhibit. People are going, the fuck, I can buy that at PetSmart that everybody
Don't stick your hands in the cages, ladies and gentlemen. The rabbits will nibble at your fingertips.
Anybody that I've ever known that has went to the zoo, I'm probably wrong, but anyone that I've ever known in my lifetime I spent time with, they want to see the excitement things. They want to see a giant bear come up to the glass. They want to see a dinosaur. Kids are infatuated with dinosaurs. What are you going to teach them if they want to know about dinosaurs? You're going to have crocodiles and you just want to get rid of them.
Yeah, crocs are the closest thing you got, really.
And one of the most amazing are your gharial that you worked with. Those are so cool, dude. Their little faces, oh my god,
they're so rad. That was definitely one of the cooler animals to work with. And then we got to work with this researcher out in Nepal, and they were. Did you ever hear about all that where we flew the drones and stuff?
Yeah.
That was right before Croc Fest. Yeah, that was awesome. So we worked with her and got to do. Just identifying gharial to help with the drone project out in Nepal. So that was just, I hope it ended up working out. I hope it helped out her stuff, but
that's good.
I saw a video that they made, which was really good. Well, they sent to me with the drones footage. Have you ever seen it?
No.
I'll have to show you something later. We just got some privileges. Romulus and all them are the guys that are working with all that stuff out there too.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So
yeah, he came to the zoo once. That was awesome. I got to meet that guy.
I remember that was the day you had to save me.
Yeah, that's right. When
they wouldn't let me go back there, they were like, "You're not going anywhere, sir." It was unbelievable, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. We'll stop looking like such a tough guy.
Jason, you look scarier than me. You smile all the time. You look like you eat people in your mom's basement. You're gonna tell me don't look like that. Some of that. He's too happy, man. He's eating people. Plain and simple.
Like that Jeffrey Dahmer guy, right?
Yeah.
I was just watching that series.
That new series looks good. I know it's hyped up, but
it is so far.
The original documentaries on him.
Yeah, hopefully I don't have a documentary.
He was one of the cooler people. He's one of the best people that we ever dealt with in our complex. He was the sweetest man. Never had an idea. So, and he was, they said, super gentle, very sweet, would help people, make them sandwiches.
Make them zombies.
He made them sandwiches, all right.
He did. You know, most people are so appalled by the grotesque.
Well played, Jason.
We got photos. There's a website and you have to pay for it, but it's called oh my God, something daily reality or whatever, something like that. And the file in there on Dahmer, bro, he had like bone cathedrals where the bones were carved, you know, and there was two bones coming out of the jaw, and he made like these big intricate art. And you know that shit's sitting somewhere.
I'm sure
they bury all that stuff, or they just.
No, I think that goes into some evidence room somewhere. I really do. I think that's such a crazy thing to have happen, right? That it's one of those things is because the one guy the father gave him permission to take his brain to study. The guy that raped all those girls, and he was like oh my God. Well, he was a major serial killer. He killed women, young women.
I'm not sure.
Come on, Jeff, think about it. We had the Night Stalker.
What decade, you know, or
80s.
80s. There was the Night Stalker. That's Richard Ramirez. That was like 70s, 80s.
Yeah.
And then raped and killed young women.
Yeah, like cheerleaders and things like that, and college girls.
And
he went on this whole thing when he got saved before they killed him, put him in the electric chair.
Oh, they all do that, man. That's that deathbed recant.
No, that's like, please don't kill me. I'm a Christian.
Yeah.
Let's do an 80s night. Let's do it. That'd be awesome. Finn will come as the lead singer of Europe.
That's awesome.
Samantha, I love it when people look at large Crocs or Gators and ask if they are fake because they're sitting so still. Yeah, I like that too.
Yeah. Why don't you go up and tap it on the nose and find out?
Yeah, I would never ask that, you know. Like, I'm not at Disney World, it's not animatronic, of course it's not fake. Michelle, captain might just float away. That's for Jeff.
I love it.
The Bronx Zoo Jungle World has a great gharial exhibit, which I'm sure Jason knows all about that. So I'll let him talk about that while I read these.
That one's rad.
I've been in the Bronx Zoo since I was a kid. I just love that place.
There's some awesome videos of them. They did a lot with station training for their gharial. One thing that they do that's super cool is they feed all theirs live fish. Even if they feed it off the tongues, they're feeding live fish.
That's
Ted Bundy.
I love baby gharials, and they're so freaking beautiful little creatures. The one at the St. Augustine, we went up there for the beer thing, and it was just you. I mean, it was like that big. Awesome.
Oh, I got to hold that guy once. That was like the highlight of my day.
I've never seen a little gharial before in my life.
That's the only one hatched in the U.S.
Yeah,
that's like.
It's still the only one?
Yeah, that's the only one ever so far.
That thing was so cool. So cool. I love that part. The St. Augustine, such a cool place.
I love going there.
I mean, they have like one of everything. It's amazing.
So I hope I don't say this right. Maybe I'll let Jeff try to say it, but I will say it. I don't want to pronounce your name wrong.
Oh, I'm gonna go with Darshna.
That's what I was thinking too, but it might not be. But hello and thank you for coming in.
Hey, Darshna.
And Brittany said, when serial killers have pieces from their victims in collectible boxes, all those things go placed in a private vault. I'm sure.
Yeah, they can't profit from them or anything like that. It's just like they can't write about it and profit.
Well, the pictures of that, he had hand-carved skulls that he had carved intricate things in, bone things like the chair I'm in. I made out of people. I was like, this guy did that in an apartment, Jason.
I'm not gonna lie. I would be cool with a chair made out of people, dude. I really would. You know,
Well, there might be some in Hitler's old
that's
collection.
really, like, you know, for our people, that's really probably not a great thing to say.
No,
but
because weren't they making like lampshades and big bone chairs out of them? And stuff?
yeah, yeah. I don't know about the bone chairs. Definitely
I saw the
lampshades.
bone lamps.
Big
I
one.
saw the femur lamps with the skull on it and the human skin on the outside of it.
Oh, it's.
They've got museums that travel around with that shit.
There were some nutty
Yeah.
dudes.
You know, like giving those Auschwitz, man, giving those people ice baths and then sewing them together. My God.
Oh yeah, that's at the Holocaust Museum. They have all that stuff and to like the photos of all of it. It's just nuts.
It's overwhelming. It's terrible. But once again, like it or not, we're animals, and sometimes animals that feel powerful, they're going to go do something. That's just what they do.
Yeah,
So lucky, but I can't watch that shizzle at night. I've been watching Jeff. I do too, but my camera that I had in his bathroom, I haven't been able to get the. It's not just angled right again. It's just not angled right.
yeah, that's because my old balls cover the lens. That's why.
They sag too low, huh?
What was I gonna say? We're talking about shit. Now I lost my train of thought too because I was talking about balls.
Nice
We're
ball.
good, thank you. It's
How are you guys doing in the pre-storm? We're doing good. Obviously, we're here with you for an
yeah, we're pre-gaming right now. Actually, I'm about to pre-game another fat joint too. I think.
There we
I
go.
don't want
You
to
know,
get Jason
Jason
in
kind
trouble
of
with
fits the
Disney.
profile. Nice guy, always happy. Keep an eye on you. My sister's being harsh tonight. You got to come up with something, Jay.
No closets full of bones over here.
I would want them if you had some. I'd like to buy a couple. The stuff Russians are doing to the Ukrainians is just as fucked, or as fucked as the Nazis. Jeff.
Oh, as in Dahmer. I think meant Jeff as in me. Yeah, I thought that was my only fan. So.
The animals are all secured. Most of us have a large
now.
amount of people. We bag a lot of our snakes and double bag them, and we bring the other animals in, and we bring them into an environment where they're safe in. I have a lot of transport boxes, so my cassowaries are in their transport boxes through the night and through the storm. So we're just going to open up their transport box. We're going to feed them. And I learned a really good trick back when I'm getting for transporting or storing cassowaries for a short time. Watermelons. Cut them in half and leave them in there, and they get all the liquid they need. Man, do they pour those things down to the white.
Oh, yeah. It's
Samantha, I think y'all have lived through the whole storm.
I don't know if we'll have power.
I know. I hope I have power. I
have a generator, so I'm definitely going to have some power.
I spent the whole day filling up gallon Ziploc bags, and I've been packing them on top of all my frozen rodents in the freezer. Figure I'll give myself an extra layer of protection there.
There you go. You got some ice.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's definitely. It's going to be a while before and they're like way down in the bottom of the freezer now. So I was really worried about losing all of them. I just ordered a shitload of rodents.
Big Mama wants to be with
They're not cheap anymore.
Brittany is a frog freak. I know you guys may not hear it, but I'm sitting here talking to you, and I have two. I have a caiman, spectacled, and an American alligator in the same tub together. Taped.
Holy moly.
Taped. And I do I take a half tube sock, cut this tip out, and I stretch it over the nose, and then I cover their eyes completely so they can't see all the bullshit going on. I really don't like to tape their eyes. I see people go like that with a tape on. I don't like that. But I hear them in there. They're probably touching each other's thigh, and then it's tail spanks in there for like, I'll be listening to you, and it's like, and I'm like, because in here it sounds like it's coming through the wall because they're in that plastic tub.
They're coming right for us. Yeah,
they're probably about 3.5 to almost 4 feet. Big enough to put a whacking on them, each other. I'm worried that Miss Piggy might start a fight with Big Mama because they aren't the same breed. Probably African, as I'm sure I'll let Jason talk about the Pixie, the African bull versus the cane toad. Think they'd fight?
Doesn't she have a Pixie and a Pac-Man?
She has two of mine. She has a pair of mine. She has hers.
Oh, that's right.
She has the Bufo Morenus, and then she has a yellow American bullfrog with pink eyes, a little albino yellow frog.
Man, I don't know, because a lot of them are just like, if anything moves, they try and eat it. So
yeah, the Pixies do. So do I know the Pac-Mans, but the Pixies do.
Yeah,
Just
so
like
I mean, that's what you're going to come into. You might end up with a leg in somebody's mouth or somebody. choking on somebody else, and that's if Troy and Jeff are in the same room.
Yes, and
Definitely get a leg.
caimans are smaller, but I will take a 6-foot caiman about as much as I'd want a hole in the head. If it comes to moving one, I'd rather be on like an 8 or 9 foot alligator than I would a 6-foot caiman. I'm just saying.
Yeah, caimans are
They're
snappy.
brutal. They'll run a full-grown alligator out of the Everglades, dude. Right out. They don't care. They're like the worst, dude. Well, we ran over a little bit, which is good. I wanted to run the 10 minutes over because we were 10 minutes late. And thanks again. Don't you two stay where you are because I want to talk to you two right before we let you go off air. I want to tell you all something. And then
You tell me you love me finally.
it's an inside. It's an inside. So that's what it is. It's not public information. But we're all going to be safe. We will. Thanks for everybody coming in. We appreciate you guys supporting us. I do. I've had a good time, and we're glad Jason came too. So we're just asking Jason and Jeff to sit still.
Yeah, absolutely. We're staying after class.
Well, we want to let you guys know we're out of here, and you guys have a great night. And thanks for coming.
Yeah, be safe, everybody in Florida.
Thank you, Samantha.
Thank you.
Appreciate that. We sure will. Good night, guys.
Thank you, Samantha.